Hello, I'm Gary Imlach and this is the story of the 2002 Tour de France, starting here in Luxembourg, the Tour's first foreign start for 4 years. In cycling terms, of course, it might as well have been Texas. Lance Armstrong came into this race as a huge favourite to join the exclusive club of riders who've won 4 Tours, and the even more exclusive club of riders who've won 4 straight.
Trying to win as many tours as Miguel and Eddie and Anquetil and Coppi and these guys, those aren't my motivations in life. Those aren't my motivations in sport. My goal is to be happy and to be successful and to work hard and to earn my money and to prove that it can be done. And that's a year-by-year thing.
On the subject of this year's thing, Armstrong, in public at least, disagrees with those who are already printing up the Lance Makes It 4 t-shirts in preparation for Paris.
For some reason, I think this will be the hardest of the last 4. I think this will be tough. I think we'll see depth in teams, depth in the field that we haven't seen before. And that's why I'm just thankful that we have such a strong team, because I think that you're going to see the Onses and the Kelmes and the Benestos, the Cofidis. I mean, you're going to see strong teams with 3 or 4 guys in the climbs that make life hard.
As an endurance event, the Tour is rivalled only by Armstrong's relationship with the French public. They haven't exactly clasped him to their collective bosom over the course of 3 Tour wins, so it's unlikely that a 4th will make a difference.
It's sometimes frustrating because you see riders they accept, riders they really cherish and love and cuddle and scream for. And it's the guys that in the group you say, I don't ever want to be like that guy. I mean, it's just, no offense, but I want to be the guy that just keeps his mouth shut, works hard, is true to his team, true to his family, true to his sport, and gives a full effort and wins the race. That's the guy that I want to be. I don't want to put a flower on my head or take a picture or do a song and dance. I just want to be a sportsman and win the biggest bike race in the world. And that's what you kind of hope that the people on the roadside say, look at there. In French, they would say, chapeau, look at the guy. Trained harder than anybody else, wanted it more than anybody else, and he got it.
Well, the big question is whether anyone can stop Armstrong getting it for the 4th straight year, and the pre-race consensus seems to be probably not. But then people say that about every great Tour champion until the year that it actually happens, and there are certainly riders in the race capable of rattling Armstrong's bottle cage.
Hello and welcome to the 89th edition of the Tour de France, which next year will celebrate its centenary. Now that may sound strange, but of course the World War years interrupted the progress of this race. We go back in fact to 1903, when the smoking chimney sweep, Maurice Garin, won the very first Tour de France. And my goodness me, what a long way this race has come. It's now more popular than ever. I'm Phil Liggett, joined of course by my pal Paul Scherwen in commentary now as we look at this year's Tour de France. It started in Luxembourg and it hasn't been there since 1989. On that occasion, Pedro Delgado was the defending champion. This year, of course, it's the American Lance Armstrong, and he's a hotter favourite than ever, Paul.
Well, before the start, Armstrong is the #1 favourite. I don't see anybody else challenging him. But I actually asked him how he thought this was going to be, this 4th attempt to try and win the event. Well, he said the first win was really my comeback. The second win was confirmation. The third was absolutely just for pleasure. The 4th one is going to be the most difficult one to win.
I think he's right, and it is a very unusual course this year, and we'll explain more of that in a moment. But it's not just about Lance Armstrong from America this time around. There are other riders now from America leading the foreign teams. For example, Tyler Hamilton, CSC from Denmark, and you've got Levi Leipheimer, first Tour for him, and looking very good after his Tour of Spain last year.
and also finishing well in the Route du Sud just before the Tour de France starts. He's a great challenger. I think maybe just a little young to come to the Tour de France for the first time and hope to lead a team to get himself onto the podium, but it will be interesting to follow his progress over the big mountain stages and of course in the individual time trials. But let's not forget two other American riders, two men riding for Team Telecom with the possibility of riding their own race, Kevin Livingston and Bobby Julich.
Yeah. Good point, because of course Jan Ullrich not here, out all year with injury and not having a very good season at all.
The Tour Prologue is a bit like the first day of the cricket season. There's no relying on the weather, and a damp start in Luxembourg meant one more worry for the riders on top of a tight technical course with cobbled sections and a sharp climb to the finish. But as we join the action, Kelme's Santiago Botero, one of the genuine challengers to Lance Armstrong, was bearing down on it.
There's the clock now. So Santiago Botero, they were all right to worry about this man. New best time and a good one. 9 minutes and 12 seconds. And now back here, we're looking behind the scenes here. Young man is passing Lance Armstrong a drink. And Lance Armstrong very politely, I think, there, just saying no thanks, not for the moment.
Raimundus Rumsas is coming up to the line right now. A very impressive time by him as well, as we get another champion in the starting gate, Christophe Moreau.
And Rumsas has done another great ride here, the Lamprey boy. It is going to be the best time. Now, we are a little bit surprised. He's a great time trial, but I really didn't think that he was going to get inside the time of Botero. Well, the organisation normally provide a skin suit yellow jersey kit, but Armstrong has decided to stay with his team colours, the former world champion. The man has won the Tour de France 3 times, it's his right, and he's chosen now to give it his best shot. Armstrong is a brilliant prologue rider. He's proved to that in the past, and he came back after his terrible ordeal with cancer. He won the prologue. He went on to win the Tour de France.
Once again, he started in a big gear, but look at this cadence. He's up around 100, 105 revolutions for every minute. This is quite remarkable. As we rejoin at the front of the race, you can see the performance of Christophe Moreau coming into the last 500 metres. In a moment or so, we should get the time check for Lance Armstrong, the last man on the road of the opening prologue today.
This is going to be a special ride from Laurent Jalabert here. He is going to challenge the leaderboard of Raimundus Rumsas. And look at the face set here. Bjorn Rees is his trainer. There's the time. Can he produce the sprint and shock us all? We never thought of Laurent Jalabert to win the prologue. He is getting all the cheers of France. He's on top of the board. 9:10.52. Paul, it's time for the experts to leave, I think. Well, we're looking at Lance Armstrong now. Can he pull something special out of the bag and take away the prologue victory and the first yellow jersey in the Tour de France? And this man is unbelievable when he turns up the power, and we know he's got that power. We still believe he could pip Laurent Jalabert on the line. He is the only man left on course who can possibly do it now. Jalabert is the leader, Rumsas is second, Botero is third, David Miller is fourth, Laurent Brochard is fifth. That's the order in. Now, can this man upset it and Pierce either win or finish second? This is going to be close, and it might well yet be the winning ride. Armstrong is coming down this finishing straight like a Grand Prix motor car. He is powering up here. There is a USA flag blocking our view right now, but Armstrong and everybody here is banging on the boards and shouting his name as he races towards the line. It is going to be close. It is going to be a desperate sprint for the line, and he is going to get it. Lance Armstrong has won the prologue. 9:08.78. How on earth did he do that?
So confirmation both of the result and all his rivals' worst fears. Lance Armstrong with an opening day statement of intent. Still only 2 seconds ahead of Laurent Jalabert, who put in an even better performance really when you consider what he was expected to do.
Lance, congratulations on the yellow jersey. Are you going to defend it for the rest of the first half of the race?
I don't know. We have to see. We have to evaluate all options and see what happens with time bonuses and breakaways, but we'll see tonight. I have to talk to the team.
That's right. You're not going to be dazzled by the great record of wearing the yellow jersey from start to finish?
That would be, I think, a mistake. It's better to try to wear this jersey in Paris and be smart along the way. If you have to give it away for a few days, then we'll do that.
So 7 kilometres down, just the 3,270.5 to go. Let's take a look at the route now as it's going to unfold over the next 22 days. Following the prologue, there's another circular stage to make sure Luxembourg gets its money's worth. Then a quick detour into Germany, where the Telekom team will be under orders to pace Erik Zabel into position for a home win. Inevitably, after 3 Tour victories, the route is littered with good omens for Lance Armstrong. When the race finally hits France, it's in Metz, where he took the race lead for good in 1999. This time, it's a staged start on the way into Champagne country, providing that extra incentive for the day's winners. A couple of bottles on the team manager's table, and the riders allowed to sniff the cork as a special treat. The team time trial switches the focus from the stars to their supporting cast. A crash cost US Postal time last year, but the big onus is usually on the team of the yellow jersey holder not to lose it for him. Stage 4 marks the start of a high-speed chase across northern France for the sprinters, culminating in the first acid test of the Tour. Lactic acid, that is. Stage 9 is a 55-kilometre individual time trial along the coast at Lorient. By the end of it, you should have a clear idea of the strength of the defending champion and his challengers. French air traffic control permitting, the riders then head south to Bordeaux for a day's rest before the mountains. Since it's an anti-clockwise year, that means the Pyrenees first and massive support for the Spanish climbers. A punishing first day over the Col d'Aubisque and up to La Mongie is followed by a 5-climb monster on stage 12, finishing at Plateau de Bay, where Marco Pantani won 4 years ago. There's usually a couple of days respite between the Pyrenees and the Alps. This year, though, features a return to possibly the most feared climb in cycling, Mont Ventoux. Lance Armstrong gave this stage away 2 years ago, and he's regretted it ever since. He'll be desperate to take the win. After the second rest day, it's on to the Alps, starting with Les Deux Alpes, where Jan Ullrich famously cracked and lost the Tour in 1998. Then it's on to another mountain finish at La Plagne via the Col de Madeleine, where Armstrong fooled everyone that he was cracking last year. Depending on the mountain stages, the time trial to Macon will either be the final showdown or the final flourish. Then all the survivors can relax and roll into Paris. Now, Lance Armstrong isn't a rider who gets carried away by romance very much. He's usually fairly calculating when it comes to winning bike races. Still, the inescapable fact was that he had the chance to go into history as the first rider since Romain Meiss in 1935 to wear the yellow jersey on the Tour from start to finish. The course is a 192.5 kilometre loop around Luxembourg, but the interesting thing to look at is the profile. 2 third category climbs, 2 fourth category climbs, and the same uphill finish that had the veins bulging on the riders' faces yesterday. Lance Armstrong was doing his impression of a French presidential candidate at the start, kissing babies, well, kissing his own, and saying nothing of any real substance. As the riders rolled out on the first road stage of the Tour, there was word from the US Postal camp that Lance was happy to let his rivals make the running, and they duly started to make it. Heading for the first sprint of the day was Armstrong's closest challenger, Laurent Jalabert, in the green jersey, along with the 2 big rivals for the points competition, Erik Zabel and Stuart O'Grady. Zabel, celebrating his 32nd birthday, took it ahead of O'Grady and Jalabert, but Jalabert's 2-second time bonus made him now the race leader on the road by 0.2 of a second. Stage 1 was turning into a nightmare for Christophe Moreau, who'd managed to get involved in his second crash of the day. And it really wasn't the kind of stage that you could afford to. The action up at the front was relentless, and after the initial 3 leaders were caught, along with the bunch that had chased them down, there was another attack. With 9 kilometres left, a group of 6 riders were trying to put significant distance between themselves and the main bunch.
And the gap surely isn't enough, but there is the climb at around 2 kilometres, around 1 kilometre to go. It's 2 kilometres uphill this. There's the peloton. Now Landis is in a very good position because on his team is Lance Armstrong, the race leader. His instructions are simple: go with the move, but don't assist it to escape. He has every reason to become the passenger, and if he's got the legs, he could even go alone. 8 seconds to go. Welcome to Deutsche Telekom, the team of Erik Zabel. The job is now on Zabel's birthday to hunt down the breakaway and get the present ready.
These guys are still surviving. There are 6 men at the front of this bike race, Phil. The last time check was just 8 seconds. That is not very much more than 100 meters.
Paul,
Well, sorry, there it is.
It's not even that, mate. It's all over. Telekom, Deutsche Telekom have shut down the breakaway at the 3 kilometers to go. After this wonderful day's racing, it is again all together. Those with the legs, there are 1 or 2 behind now, but basically all of the field that matters is here.
Look at the men lining up now in front of Erik Zabel. There is the champion of Germany, Danilo Hondo. There is Fanini. There is Zabel. It's 20 seconds, Phil, for the first man to cross the line. 12 seconds for the man who finishes second and 8 seconds for the man who finishes third. Those point seconds are going to be so important at the end of today. Also moving forward, Robbie McEwen, your favourite from Australia.
He's got a huge chance today if he can hang on. Now the Telecom boys are finding this climb is a little bit distressing because it's a lovely road surface. It'll turn right towards the top and then we'll line up for the finish. This is tremendous pacemaking being done here, and the man doing it is Andy Flickinger, a Frenchman on the AG2R, but he's got no team around him, so he may as well move out. He's done that. The champion of Germany now, Danilo Hondo, and they'll do it one by one here, go as quickly as they can, lose their position and hope that the last man left on the front is Erik Zabel. But he's very closely marked by the sprinters, and there's always the trouble that somebody will slip away, and there's a move on the right, and it is again a Lamprey rider giving it just about everything.
That is an unbelievable move by Team Lamprey coming out of the pack.
Well, I think it is Belos Vosic of Latvia who's gone from the Lamprey team. Now, if he's got the legs, can he hang on? Because he hasn't got much more strength left there. The peloton are still shadow boxing here if they can. Those legs must be screaming with pain now. The Telecom riders are still holding the back of the sprint as best they can. Well, this could be the steal of the day, and richly deserved, because we've seen a tremendous day of racing. But you know, there's still the acceleration of the sprinters now, as Baden Cook is trying to get in on the scene, the other Australian newcomer to the Tour de France now. The clash of swords, the legs are going, but it's too late. He's got victory on the line, and Zabel and McEwen take the second and third. But a great win there, and we still think that the rider was Rubens Bertogliato.
And there is the stage result. Not a 1-2-3 scene often in international cycling, but Togliatti, Zabel, McEwen, with Oscar Freire up contending in his first Tour and Stuart O'Grady 6th. And if the stage result was a surprise, what about this? Togliatti catapulted into the yellow jersey by the 20-second win bonus. That is about as close as Jan Ullrich is going to get to this year's race, I think. Of course, last year when the Tour route was announced, it must have seemed like a great idea. Germany's one and only ever Tour de France winner. Best man to promote it when it comes into the country. Of course, that was before Jan Ullrich's knee injury ruled him out of the race, and his recent pill-popping exploits at a party got him back in the headlines this week. Now, we've heard Jan Ullrich's excuse, which was that the drug taking was purely recreational, but I doubt that that cuts much ice with the Team Telecom management, because the fact is that when he's in the peloton and fully fit, Jan Ullrich is probably the most talented rider in it. But to go with his one Tour victory, he now has 4 second places. And if you look at his weight problems and now what we should call, I suppose, personal indiscipline problems, it's hard to imagine him ever again rivaling a man with the kind of ruthless dedication to his task that Lance Armstrong has. All right, enough of a lecture to Jan. Let's get back to the race out on the road. And with 11 kilometres to go, the action was pretty much an all-German affair. Jens Voigt trying to stay away from the bunch to sneak a home win, and Team Telecom leading the chase, determined to set up the same thing for Erik Zabel.
This is going to be a rip-roaring charge into the line. Ludo Dirksens is in the middle there in the Lamprey, the Belgian national, former Belgian national champion. Axel Merckx was there. There's the world champion as well, Oscar Freire. All of the big men are moving to the forward right now. Chaos it is at the front right now. Everybody wants to stay in 15th, 20th place. They don't want to touch their brakes. One thing about riding at this moment in the stage of the Tour de France, if you touch your brakes, you can slide back to 30th or 40th place. And in fact, Erik Zabel in the green jersey just on the right-hand side there seems to be a little bit too far back right now. And he is actually, he's pushing Danilo Hondo forward there. You see that move from the green jersey on Erik Zabel. He wants Hondo to take him a little bit further forward. He's using his teammates sensibly right now. Freire is moving across now onto the wheel of the green jersey. This is a question of who breaks first or who breaks last as they go around this nice little chicane for the moment. Still a bit of disorganisation on the front end of the main field as we get one of the telecom riders looking back to see where the rest of the guys are with 5 kilometres to go.
Well, I haven't noticed the capture of the leader, but I am going to presume now that he has been caught, as we're watching here under the 4 kilometre banner.
The charge down into town. These corners are very, very tricky and precarious because everybody wants to hold their position. You're leaning right into the corner, getting the knee down as far as possible to lower your centre of gravity and hopefully not lose a gap on the wheel in front of you right now. Lotto are in control. It's a Lotto Telecom train at the moment. We are touching speeds, Phil, approaching 35 miles an hour right now. It really is going to be a mad dash. The yellow jersey is in 2nd position. The world champion is in 4th position. The man who wears the green jersey there, Erik Zabel, is in 7th position. Everybody is battling for the wheels of the sprinters. We are now looking to see when the red kite is going to appear. And I think, if my memory serves me correctly, it's just after this bridge.
Well, Ludo Dirksen, hats off to the Belgian rider here who is trying to drag this young man of 23 years of age to his 2nd stage win in as many days, and he's forcing the yellow jersey. He's got no more legs left, and he's put him on the front, which is where he should not be right now, because as they go 1,000 metres from the finish, there is still a left hand to come. Watch the whereabouts of the green jersey of Zabel. This is a big moment for him now as he turns into the corner on the shoulder of Robbie McEwen, the champion of Australia. I thought there'd been a crash for a moment. They took it wide. There was a crash. Somebody's gone down there, but it's not the 2 men we expected, as lead out is still coming now. The yellow jersey washed away. Watch for the men to break from the centre in green. Oscar Freire is there too as they try for this one. Freddy Rodriguez is about 7 men down now. Danilo Hondo is the lead out man. Then it'll be Gian Matteo Panini. Then it'll be Zabel with Hunter on his McEwen on his wheel and Freire on his wheel. Now they move over. Now the green comes on the right. Zabel on the right. Freire on the left with McEwen. It's the 3 of them go for the line, and the world champion has taken it. Oscar Freire with Zabel and McEwen, the runners-up.
So Oscar Freire adds a debut Tour de France stage win to his 2 World Championships, just in case anyone thought they were flukes, and afterwards he had his rainbow collar felt by Matt Rendell.
Oscar tiene una colección formidable de mallas, ¿no? De jerseys, y ahora 11 segundos le separa de la maillot jaune. ¿Qué está pensando? ¿Con qué va a soñar por la noche?
No, por la noche no sé con qué soñaré, pero no sé, yo creo que ahora mi objetivo era también conseguir una etapa y en ningún momento pienso en el maillot amarillo, pero lo que está claro es que si puedo conseguirlo no lo voy a desaprovechar.
For the second day, and very much against the odds, Rubens Bertogliati stood on the podium in yellow. But having ridden intelligently at the front of the bunch all day, you have to say he deserved it. Well, it wasn't a stage for Lance today, but for the men who reckoned they could sprint themselves into the race lead on the way from Metz to Reims. 174.5 kilometres, with bonuses available at 3 sprints along the way, as well as the finish, of course.
Now we're sweeping across this beautiful city of Reims. It'll shortly narrow down before we line up for the actual finish, just down the side of the main Metz to Paris motorway.
Tell you what, Erik Zabel's a long way further back right now, and Robbie McEwen's up into 3rd place. Right on his wheel is Fabio Baldato. There is Michael Sandstad. He's looking over his shoulder to see just exactly what the position is of Laurent Jalabert. The Estonian national champion is in there, Jan Kirsipuu in the dark blue jersey there, but looks to me as if Erik Zabel is an awful long way down right now.
This is going to be a real sprint for the line.
Robbie Hunter's in there too. He's going to try and do it. This is a last-minute attack. That's probably going to be a man like Nico Matin from Cofidis. A good move by him, trying to surprise all of the sprinters coming off the front, hitting them just at the right time. It is Nico Matin, but he hasn't surprised anybody at all today. He's just going off the front of the main pack, but they're just reassembling behind him. That will cause a bit of consternation for Team Lotto. It's caused a bit of disorganisation. Squeezing through the gap there in the green jersey is Erik Zabel. They're all over the road right now trying to organise themselves. There are no teammates at all of Erik Zabel. He's having to count on the other sprinters right now. Hunter is there in 4th position. There is the world champion Oscar Freire. There's a big line on the right-hand side now. This is coming from Alessio.
Well, Alessio have a great sprinter too, and it's even off, and he's about 3 men back. And I must say that there's no team got control of this race today. They are all out of control because Telecom tried and couldn't. Lotto have got a little bit confused, but watch out for Robbie McEwen. He's got the 3rd place position there, and that is the best right now. Here comes the swing, and it's Hondo taking them through. Brake hard, and it's very narrow. They'll sight it now. They've made it safely because it was dry, and now they've got a chance to go for the gold. The big sprinters are there. Zabel will have to take on Oscar Freire. He'll have to take on the McEwen as group again because they're all there now. And again, Robbie Hunter trying to lead out the world champion teammate, but he's got on the back wheel there instead. Fabio Baldato is there. Baden Cook is in the centre. The little squat rider in white as Credit Agricole tried to bring through Tor Hoshoff here. This is going to be a most amazing finish because still the green jersey of Zabel is deep in the peloton, and in that peloton too is Braden Cook. Now Zabel making his move as Hoshoff is trying to win. This is the man who finished last yesterday, finished 20 minutes behind. It's keeping the sprint going here for the line, and on his wheel is still Hunter, as I think Zabel is boxed in, but now McEwen comes. McEwen is going to lead out to Eric Zabel for the line. Robbie McEwen, I don't think is going to lose this one. He's moving off his line. There'll be a protest, but McEwen, for the moment, gets the win.
I waited and waited, took my chance, and this time I got across to the barriers, and I saw Zabel coming, but with a tailwind slide uphill, I thought I could hold it, and oh, that's nice.
Well, there were questions asked about whether Robbie cut across Eric Zabel in the final sprint, but there was no protest from Team Telecom, so he was safe to celebrate with his wife Angelique and Ewan McEwen, the rhyming baby, making his Tour debut at the age of less than 2 months. If his dad keeps going, he might make it onto the podium like Eric Zabel's son does every year. So there's the stage result. McEwen, Zabel and another Aussie, Baden Cook, in his first ever Tour, taking an impressive 3rd place. Eric Zabel led the race coming into the day, and here's what he thought of the likelihood that his team might keep him there.
Not so high, because we see the circuit, we train on this road, and it's hard, and the wind stays like this. It's a lot of headwind, so it comes much more harder then. And don't forget our best 3 time trialists stay at home. So I think the chance for US Postal with Lance Armstrong is a little bit higher.
A victory in a team time trial is very, very good for the team spirit. It's really a performance that they accomplish together, and the couple of days after a victory like that is really, you can do amazing things with a spirit like that.
Today is a very important stage for us, especially for Lance. We can, if he can do well, Lance will be able to get some extra time on the main guys in the general classification.
We had last year, we had a problem in the team time trial because of the rain. So if it will be dry, I will be very happy.
In my opinion, I think we have a great team for the team time trial. I think that we can, barring accidents, I think we can buy time there.
Yeah, well, we all know the Tour de France, there's so much that can happen, so we always have our guard up, and it's going to be very hard no matter what. So we do have to concentrate on that. But the team's riding well, and Lance is riding super strong, so we are confident, and we hope we have good luck.
Well, the route today was 67.5 kilometres from Epernay to Chateau Thierry, heading mainly due west, which would mean strong headwinds, and punctuated by a testing climb at the halfway point. Eric Zabel and the Telecom team were among the early starters, but weren't even fast enough to post the best time of the first 7 teams to go. We pick it up now with the big 5 all out on the road. CSC Tiscali have gone through the first checkpoint with the best time, but fastest through the second, despite losing a rider to a puncture, are on say. Let's join Phil Liggett and Paul Scherwen.
This should be a very interesting time coming in because it is almost certainly going to wipe Faso Bortolo away completely.
By about 1 minute and 45 seconds, I would think, if they've continued their progress. Well, they've had their share of bad luck too. They've lost a man very early on today with a flat tyre. It happened at 24 kilometres in, so they've ridden over 40 kilometres without a one-man on the team, Pradera. But this time is going to be a sensational one and will be the time to beat, I think, for sure. Onse have lived up to the reputation as a great team time trial outfit. Look at that time now, 1:21 was the best time. They're going to be inside at 1:20 for the ride. Big sprint to the line required. They have to put the stopwatch on the 5th man over the line, but they've held it together very well despite the early problem. They bring 8 men home. Best time 1:19.49 for Onse. And now they can sit down, and it'll take 20 minutes to finish this race now, and they're going to have to see just is it good enough to give them the race leader.
This team we're looking at now, Tyler Hamilton's team and the team of Laurent Jalabert, have taken the risk of leaving one of their strong men behind, Michael Sandstad. He's just had a flat tyre. They have to keep the pressure on as much as possible because Laurent Jalabert's dream at the moment is getting himself into the yellow jersey. He started his day at the same time as Lance Armstrong in the overall standings. They had a 9 seconds advantage over the best place of the Onse riders, Igor Gonzalez de Galdiano. So as long as they can finish in front of Onse and US Postal Service, Laurent Jalabert will be in yellow tonight.
Just look at all of the riders in this magnificent US Postal team. They are all still together, and I think Lance has put the blocks on a little bit to say let's just steady it down. We don't have to win this race.
Well, it's not important for him to win this race. The important thing is to stay in a reasonable amount of contact with CSC Tiscali and, of course, with the Onse squad. Because if one of these other teams were to take the yellow jersey, he knows over the next few flat stages they are going to do everything to control it. If, for example, Laurent Jalabert gets the yellow jersey tonight, he will fight tooth and nail to keep himself in yellow for as long as absolutely possible. But here they are, the blue train.
Here they are indeed, second best time at 7 kilometres before the finish. Now I think they can bridge the 38 seconds. They were behind Onse at that point, but if they come over the line here in second, they finished 4th in this race last year, by the way, and a similar time position today is the worst they can expect. 2nd or 3rd, I think, is the best, but they're going to push themselves right to the limit. You can see riders dropping off now. Job done. They only need 5 to cross the line for the time. Ekimov has peeled off on the far right there now. The most important thing is, of course, that Lance Armstrong finishes with those 5 riders. Floyd Landis also here and looking good. As they drive up to the line, they've just popped down into 2nd place, but they'll be coming across the line quite clearly in 2nd place, putting Fassa Bortolo down into 3rd, with 2 teams still to finish. The arrival of US Postal, they'll be well satisfied with this day. 1:20.05.
They pulled a lot back over the last 10 kilometres there, in fact only losing just over 15 seconds to Onse at the end of the day, so they pulled themselves back a good 20 seconds over the last 7 kilometres of racing, and I'd say a lot of that went down to George Hincapie, Lance Armstrong and Yaroslav Ekimov. The important thing though is not losing today's stage but keeping the team together as a collective. They will have high morale tonight. They will be happy with this performance.
So it looks like a 3rd place finish for CSC. Bad luck taking them perhaps off the leaderboard, or was it the consistency of the other 2 who persisted and beat them? 3rd, 1:20.35, and so the new maillot jaune of the Tour de France will be Igor Gonzalez de Galdiano in only his 2nd Tour de France.
And here's the result that put him there. The favourites US Postal beaten into 2nd place by 16 seconds, CSC Tiscali 3rd, and an excellent ride by David Miller's Cofidis team to take 5th. Today was stage 5 of the Tour de France, and coming into it, there were encouraging signs that we might have a bit of a race on our hands. Onse had confirmed Lance Armstrong's pre-race prediction that they'd be one of the strongest teams by being stronger than his in the team time trial. The question now is, can they use their strength in depth to launch a full-scale challenge on the defending champion?
El valor o el triunfo de la Once Eroski es el trabajo en conjunto, ¿no? Creo que hemos trabajado muy bien. Algunos desde el coche, Manolo dirigiendo, y otros dando a los pedales, ¿no? Cada uno en su trabajo. Es realmente donde se ve el trabajo de un director, ¿no? Y creo que lo hace mejor que nadie.
Yo creo que son muy gentiles, ¿no? Yo digo que la especialidad de la contrarreloj por equipos es como un rally, ¿no? Yo soy el copiloto que va diciendo las cosas, pero el que pone el esfuerzo, el que pone la técnica, el que pone toda la sabiduría es el piloto, ¿no? Y ellos son los pilotos los que hacen todo el esfuerzo, los que hacen todo el sacrificio. y al término, pues cuando acaba la victoria es suya y la felicitación es para ellos, ¿no?
Pues, pero ahora como director deportivo el trabajo duro comienza, ¿cierto?
Sí, es un tour difícil, es un tour donde nosotros tenemos muchas ambiciones. Yo creo que hemos dado un paso importante, sobre todo mental, ¿no? Para la psicología un poco del equipo. Y ahora debemos de seguir pensando en todo el tour, con nuestras ambiciones, con nuestras ganas, con nuestros sueños. Y es verdad que Armstrong es el gran favorito, pero que yo siempre digo, ¿no? Que aunque él sea el gran favorito, que nos permitan a los demás soñar. Y nosotros tenemos que soñar con ganarle, ¿no? Entonces, pues vamos a luchar un poquito por ello.
Well, today's route didn't look like much of a threat to Onse's plans. 195 flat kilometres from Soissons to Rouen. Perfect for the sprinters, or the kind of breakaway that often develops the day after a big stage like the team time trial, when everyone's tired. The unwelcome distinction of first rider to abandon the Tour went to Tom Steels, the Mapei sprinter, who's perhaps still suffering the after effects of glandular fever. And after an early crash, Richard Virenque was in a bit of discomfort too, getting running repairs from the race doctor. After a couple of unsuccessful attempts, a five-man breakaway did form, and in it were Belgium's Ludo Dirksens and the Estonian sprinter Jan Kirsipuu. They were joined by Italy's Stefano Casagrande, Christophe Edelin of France, and Michael Sandstad, the Danish CSC rider, whose puncture cost them the team time trial.
So this is all happening at 19 kilometres to go now. The gap has just come through at 2 minutes and 23 seconds. McGee has a flat tyre, and as Paul has said, and there's been a terrific crash at the back here. The cameras are now organised. Quite a few riders are stunned down there. A lot of the Euskaltel riders, one of the Lamprey riders on the far right of the road. Doesn't look terribly good at all, but this is a tremendous crash at high speed, and we don't know how it happened. Our camera's switching to the back of the race.
Well, this indicating a lot of riders were under serious pressure. There's the national champion, Nicolas Vaugondi. He's there. There's a Lamprey rider who is down and not looking very good at all. He looks in serious difficulty, and that, in fact, is Marco Pinotti. Bocharov is in there as well, the AG2R leader. He was also involved in that crash, but I have to say Marco Pinotti is not looking very good. Gerard Porte, the doctor, is right there alongside him in the white shirt. But this shows that the riders of the Tour de France at the moment are under serious pressure. When a group goes down like that, it shows that there is a lot of fatigue creeping in.
So in these last 15 kilometres of the race today, it is in total disarray at the back, and in fact Didier Rousse is trying to get away from the peloton, and he has been joined by Laurent Dufaux. I don't know if we'll see pictures of this because I'm not too sure. We've got too many cameras left right now, but two riders are ahead of the peloton. The crowd continues to cheer here at just under 15 kilometres to go to the finish, and we are in fact passing through here the town where the great Jacques Anquetil rests in Quincampoix. And there he is. This is in fact the gravestone of the great Jacques Anquetil, and that's his signature on the right. He died in 1987, and he wasn't that old really. A most brilliant rider in the Tour de France, 5 times a winner, 51 times he wore the leader's yellow jersey. Now this of course is not allowed, and if the referees see it, these riders will be penalised both in time and money, because rules are quite clear. You cannot take shelter for more than 50 metres behind your team vehicle. They are now under the 5 kilometres to go, so they too are beginning the descent into the city of Rouen. The gendarme working overtime to warn the riders about those nasty little bits of furniture in the centre of the road. But this, I think, can only be the saving grace of the breakaway. It's much easier to descend at speed in a small group than a big peloton. They're all working, and this now the counter-attacking is going to come from the 5 in the front, and they're not going to work together now. It could be fatal to do that. They need to keep their rhythm on. If they start shadow boxing, they're finished for the day. Sandstad, I think, will go soon. He cannot afford a sprint finish. He can't sprint. And watch out for the man at the back, Casagrande. I think if anybody's going to beat Kirsipuu today, it is the Italian on the back of this line. And now Casagrande has made his move.
He's moved again. They're forcing Kirsipuu to chase all of these little counter-attacks. He's putting a lot of pressure now. The move coming from Sandstad. He's just got himself back on. Kirsipuu again has to dig deep again. He has to nail down these attacks. one at a time. They know he's the fastest man in the group, but watch out, the best time to attack right now would be for Ludo Dirksen to go straight over the top. They're inside the final kilometre. They've 30 seconds advantage over the main field. They will survive today, but watch out for the move coming by the young Frenchman.
Because that's the time to go. When they sat up, he had to make the running. He's the lead-out man now, and Kersipou has locked on the big sprinter. A chance to return to the top in a Tour de France for him and claim a third stage win. Casagrande grits his teeth, but Kersipou saw him come. Kersipou straight into his slipstream here now. Dirksen has been dodging wheels and still holding on to third place. Now Casagrande's made the mistake. Kersipou won't come yet. He try and will wait until the last possible moment, but they've done a good one. They've got him back in the lead. Sorry about the tunnel, but we're back in view now. Casagrande on the middle of our picture, and now Sandstad grits his teeth again to try and make amends for yesterday. He goes for the line, but Kersipou is in the perfect position. Dirksen is going to take him on. Dirksen is going to go for young Kersipou. Now there's not many of them will get over Kersipou. Kersipou is now clear and is going to get the win, but only just. He gets it on the line from Sandstad, Dirksen, Casagrande, Edelin.
Well, it was close, but for the first time this tour, a breakaway stayed away, with Jan Kersipou winning a low-speed chase at the line from his fellow escapees. From the look on your face as you came across the line, you had given that everything.
Yeah, I had everything and even a little bit more. I had nothing left.
When did you realise that it was just going to be between you five?
Well, I started to thought that since 25 kilometers to go, then I saw that we're going to make it.
And this is what Kersipou's win does to the overall standings. Absolutely nothing. Igor Gonzalez de Galdiano leads 4 seconds ahead of his teammate Josipa Belocchi, with Lance Armstrong another 3 seconds back. Now, with 3 consecutive flat stages leading up to the individual time trial on stage 9, nothing dramatic was likely to change in the race for the yellow jersey. For the points competition, though, they could be crucial days.
Through the middle comes Eric Zabel in a green jersey on the line. That's it, Eric is in green. Robbie McEwen, I don't think, is going to lose this one. He's moving off his line. There'll be a protest, but McEwen, for the moment, gets the win. Now Stuart O'Grady is going to try. O'Grady is going to edge it. Oh, and it was so close on the line, but he thinks he got it. Now the green comes on the right. Zabel on the right. Frere on the left with McEwen. It's the 3 of them go for the line, and the world champion has taken it. Oscar Frere with Zabel and McEwen, the runners-up.
The green jersey is the competition for the Tour's hourly paid workers. Not just sprinters, but hard men who come out every day to earn their points. And there are 2 ways to get them. At the finish, points are awarded on a sliding scale to the first 25 riders across the line. That's why we saw Eric Zabel and Robbie McEwen fighting for 6th place yesterday. It was worth 20 points. There are also points available out on the road at hotspot sprints. 6 for the first man under the banner, 4 for the second, and 2 for the third. So, while the yellow jersey holder can sit quietly in the bunch on flat stages and just keep an eye on his rivals, green jersey contenders have to be out there working every stage. The hardest working man in bike business the last 6 years has been Eric Zabel, who's won a record half a dozen green jerseys in a row. Last year he held off a strong challenge from Stuart O'Grady. This year Robbie McEwen is trying to bring the run to an end, and he's outsprinted Zabel at the finish on the last 3 stages.
It's very close between Robbie and me, and also the other Australian riders like Cook and O'Grady are still in shape, and we see what's happened the next days.
So currently the points competition looks like this. Zabel's lead is down to just 2 points after Robbie McEwen outsprinted him yesterday. The impressive Baden Cook in his first tour is lying 3rd, and yesterday's stage win has Jan Kersipou ahead of Stuart O'Grady for the moment. And the reason the next 3 days are so important is because after the time trial on stage 9, the Tour heads south to the mountains, and there the sprinters won't be earning any points, they'll be hanging on at the back. Now, one final thing about the green jersey competition, and it's this thing. Now, it doesn't look very dangerous. I mean, you'd struggle to hijack a plane with it, but according to the Tour organisation, this is an offensive weapon. The problem is that PMU, who sponsor the green jersey, distribute hundreds of these things every day, presumably so that fans can give the riders a big hand at the finish. Cue laughter from the studio audience. However, Robbie McEwen wasn't laughing the other day as the fans hung over the barrier and Rance waving these things in his path during the final sprint.
I got hit with a couple of those on the arm, got hit in the head by one, got a bit of skin off my arm, but yeah, well, scars, I mean, it's not too bad. I feel like a little school kid going, look, Mum, I hurt myself. But
I'm impressed.
But, you know, it's like, I'm doing 60-something k an hour and people are heading, I got another one on my shoulder, and lucky I had a helmet on, otherwise I could have a big one across my head. But, you know, I had to get away from the barriers then because I was scared that someone was going to hit me in the face with a hand and I'd lose it that way rather than someone riding past me, you know, on pure speed.
Well, there's the Stage 6 route, just on 200 kilometres to Alençon, and there were a possible 53 green jersey points available, 6 apiece for winning the 3 hotspot sprints and 35 for winning the stage. Well, Robbie McEwen took the first 6, out sprinting Zabel, who only picked up 2 points for third behind Jans Ferrada, and that 4-point swing meant McEwen was now the leader on the road in the green jersey competition by 2 points. A little before the first sprint had been the first crash of the day. David Miller was caught up in it and suffered cuts to his arms and legs, but he got back on and rejoined the main bunch.
Well, Eric is a brilliant competitor. He will not take defeat lightly. There's McEwen, though. He's just passed out of view, but he's over to the left of our picture, about 4 men down. I've noticed Frere is there as well, and also Baden Cook is right tucked in too, very close to Eric Zabel. The 3 Aussies are ganging up on him again. What a superb approach to line this is by the stars of the Tour. Here comes Ludo Dierksens now. McEwen checks himself in the centre screen there. Baden Cook is also off to the left of our picture, to the right of McEwen. The peloton are out of it now, and glad to be, I think, this is a vicious finish today. Dierksens has got the front. Danilo Honda looks over his shoulder. He's looking for the whereabouts of Zabel as the sprint now starts, and this is going to be a very, very difficult sprint. It's Fabio Baldato trying for the run here now. He hasn't got the legs. Very, very sharp right hander. Honda round in second place. Zabel not quite there on the train just yet as our camera tries to catch up now. Baldato in trouble, I think. This is going to be the final run for the line now. It's the champion of Germany leading out here. Then it'll be Gian Matteo Fognini. Zabel is there in 4th place. The left of the picture, Credit Agricole is trying now. Robbie McEwen has got the wheel, but watch out for Frere. Frere is on the wheel of Zabel. Zabel is leading out the world champion. McEwen is trying on the left. McEwen and Zabel. And this is going to be McEwen again. Right on the line. Zabel has got him. Zabel has taken him on the line. And that is how you say, I'm still in this bike race.
So Eric Zabel, who started the day in green by just 2 points, finished in green by 7 after a short detour into second place out on the road.
I must say I'm very happy now to win a stage on this way. But I think you are right. Robbie McEwen is from the wheel, mostly from my wheel, one of the fastest guys. This year it's very hard for me to win when I start in front.
As we indicated at the top of all that excitement left the race for the yellow jersey completely untouched. Well, there's today's obstacle course, 176 kilometres from Bagnoles de l'Orne to Avranches. A couple of 4th category climbs along the way, and another 53 possible points on offer for the sprinters in the green jersey competition. In yellow for the 3rd day, Igor Gonzalez de Galdiano, of course, would have a full complement of ONCE bodyguards, including the man in second place behind him, Joseba Belocchi. Well, today's escape committee was 3 strong. Anthony Morin of Credit Agricole, Domo's Leon Van Bon and Frank Renier of the Bonjour team. Between them, they built up a lead of more than 5 minutes and in the process mopped up all the intermediate sprints, so no change in the green jersey competition out on the road. No competition at all for the strangest shot of the day, David Echevarria working on his aerodynamics in advance of the time trial. And it might have had something to do with the second strangest shot, because it came just after Echevarria got a 25-mile-an-hour peck on the cheek from Roberto Laiseca. The first crash of the day wasn't a serious one, but it left Jonathan Vaughters seriously adrift of the bunch, because his bike was more seriously damaged than he was.
Alessio driving the race on here now. Telecom willing to work, hoping that Zabel can have those aging legs of his and the more stamina than the lesser aging legs of Oscar Freire and Robbie McEwen in the sprint. There's a crash. There's a crash. And this again is a situation.
Let's have a look and see if any of the riders who are high in the overall standings have been caught out. Number 12 there for Team Telecom is Rolf Aldag. He's a big worker. Again there, Christoph Agneluto, AG2R, number 182. He is down. It looks as if there's a large, tall Crédit Agricole rider. That may be Jonathan Vaughters, again having a bad day.
Lampre's gone, Paul, Marco Serpellini, and there's somebody
the world champion
is down. Oscar Freire has taken a very nasty fall. Now this is a man whose whole career has been dogged by physical problems, and this is extremely sad, and it's his back again. It's his back that has given him the problems in the past. There's somebody else right underneath him from Lampre down there.
Well, now, he just popped his head up for the last minute. That
ditch is rather deeper than it appears, it seems. A lot of riders are down here and delayed.
And Christophe Moreau, 61, is down as well. This is bad. There's Jonathan Vaughters. Stewie O'Grady is there as well, I think, on the left-hand side. You can see that a lot of men have gone down. Frédéric Bessy, number 52. The Crédit Agricole riders all here waiting for their leader, and Christophe Moreau, I think, more dejected psychologically here, Phil, than anything else.
But just how many Crédit Agricole riders fell down? Because I don't think they're waiting for, I think they must have been almost all riding together as they crashed. Obviously, Moreau is down, looking very cool and collected. The rider on the right, Roger Leger, won't believe this, attending all of his team. Freire looks as though he might be on his way, but he's back, and this is a serious problem for Oscar. His back has been a problem, and now he looks as though he's given a real good clout in that ditch.
Well, he's a man I thought would be capable of getting up this climb towards the finish, and that is going to change the complete physiognomy of the race finish here right now, because he's a tough guy at the end of the day. Moreau is up and riding. There's a guy down on the ground there, and I think that is Didier Rousse, in fact. It is Didier Rousse, the former national champion of France. He's been involved in several crashes since the start, and this one doesn't look too good. The way he's holding his arm there right now, it looks as if it might be a collarbone problem there.
Well, 3 days running, let's hope that's the end of it. Now as we leave them behind, desperate straight to the front as well. The latest gap is 18 seconds. Anthony Morin won't know half of his team, not half, 3/4, are all lying on the road at a couple of kilometres behind him. Leon Van Bonner's gone to the front. He may as well try something because they're coming very, very close.
Another crash at the back.
Sounds like another crash call.
We're getting all this information from Race Radio, the Race Referees channel. This is in French. And you can see these guys now raising the white flag. And in fact, Jalabert has gone down, number 51. So again, chaos. And there are a lot of US Postal jerseys there too. This is a big rider.
Well, they've got Ekimov down nearest, and Ekimov is looking after Armstrong.
Has gone down as well. He's not crashed, but he had a slight problem here. This is number 1. This is the defending champion right now. He's inside 2.5 kilometers to go. Armstrong is up and riding. The race referee's car is by him. This is why the Tour de France over the first 10 days is so very dangerous and precarious. There was Georgie Hincapie, but you know what? Armstrong is going to fly up through this field. He looked all right to me. There was no problem to his bike at all. And here's the last-minute attack.
Well, Armstrong has got to get on because he'll lose time here. This race will be split time today.
Look at this. US Postal Service today are being asked by Lance Armstrong to pull him back into the main peloton. Danilo Hondo on the front there in the white jersey. The yellow jersey, Igor Gonzalez de Galdiano, was very front. There's a lot of pressure at the back because Lance Armstrong has been involved in an incident just a few moments ago. 3 of those guys have been pulled back into the fold, but there's a move going off the front right now by Mapeo. Lance Armstrong apparently 15 seconds behind the main peloton at the moment.
Well, this looks like Pedro Jarillo is trying to slip away here for the Mapei team. I might well surprise us with a surprise. Brad McGee there in second place. It is going there. The sprint has been spoilt here by this hill for sure of 400 meters, and I think this is Pedro Jarillo, and if it is, and it doesn't matter who it is, it's a Mapei rider who's going to get the sprint as he's being closed in by Bradley McGee. McGee is trying to reach him. He was the man that's supposed to lead out Baden Cook, but he's too strong. I think McGee might get his stage win here because he's closing very, very quickly. Pedro Jarillo is beginning to crack as the sprint is starting behind now. And as they kick behind, it looks as though McGee is going to get the victory of his life. Bradley McGee, the Australian, takes it on the line. And what an incredible result that was. Well, 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 Australia have got the win, but by the man we didn't really expect it to. He was supposed to lead out Baden Cook, and he rode the field off his wheel.
So the yellow jersey competition, which was supposed to be in hibernation until the time trial, is suddenly all activity and time gaps. In fact, it's all on say. They've got the top 7 places now, with Lance Armstrong slipping back to 8th, 34 seconds behind Igor Gonzalez de Galdiano.
I can't believe this is the biggest thing ever. Yeah, I can't believe it.
It was the biggest disappointment ever for Pedro Orio, who thought he'd timed his burst to the line perfectly, only to deflate in the last 10 metres when he turned and saw McGee powering past him.
Hombre, pues sí, yo creo que las fuerzas las tengo como para ganar una etapa, pero las circunstancias nunca sabes cómo son, ¿no? Y desde luego la circunstancia era favorable para mí y para desgracia de Óscar, pues esa caída suya pues me ha favorecido a mí, ¿no? Y he tratado de intentarlo y la verdad es que tengo una desilusión tremenda ahora mismo porque lo he visto tan cerca que es mejor no verlo tan cerca para no llevarte esa desilusión.
The word on Armstrong, by the way, is that he didn't actually come off in the crash, just got blocked by a teammate who did. And the word from the US Postal Camp is that he'll be fit for what should be a fascinating showdown.
Well, the papers, of course, are full of all of the crashes which are affecting the destiny of the riders in this race at the moment. We're losing most of the riders because of broken bones right now. This is Oscar Freire, and as you say, he's now out of the race, and that's really sad. And of course, Lance Armstrong gets the inside page because it's the first time in 4 years, Paul, that he's been involved in any sort of an accident.
Well, he's ridden well over the last few years, kept himself out of all kinds of incident and accident, but in fact he didn't properly crash yesterday. It was his teammate Roberto Heras who fell onto his back wheel. Heras's handlebars were caught in the wheel of Armstrong. Armstrong had to put his foot on the ground, was delayed but managed to get up and started riding again, but I think a little bit more scared than anything else.
Yeah, well, he lost 27 seconds, not a disaster, but it just shows you how easily you can lose the Tour de France.
Today's stage was the 3rd longest of the Tour, just over 217 kilometres, with 3 fourth category climbs, and like yesterday, the last of them on the run-in, which was likely to make things interesting. Big crowds out for Bastille Day, and the big guns were out for the first intermediate sprint. Robbie McEwen beat Eric Zabel to it, and that cut the Germans' lead in the points competition to 3. The first successful attack of the day had 7 men in it, 3 Frenchmen, 3 Dutchmen, and a Latvian. That was Raivis Belavoschiks. The French riders were all from different teams, Stéphane Auge of De La Tour, Bonjour's Frank Renier, and Sébastien Hinault of Crédit Agricole. But it was the Dutch who made the break interesting. Rabobank's Eric Dekker, who'd won stage 8 in the past 2 tours, his young teammate Karsten Kroon, and his arch-rival Servace Knaven of the Domo team. As we join it, they're simultaneously trying to psych each other out and stay away from the chasing pack.
Another attack, it looks like it's gone again. It could well be Knaven who's gone. This long line of people just seeing a wonderful race here, and they're now a kilometre to go. To forget the race behind, they're racing now for 8th place in the peloton.
Well, Frank Renier's been the aggressive man of the Tour de France so far. He's the most aggressive bike rider in the event since we left Luxembourg. There are 3 Dutchmen in this group right now. The leading group is 7 men strong. They have thrown absolute caution to the wind this afternoon. They've launched attack after attack, and it is finally going to come down to a sprint for the line. But Milosevic is on the left-hand side. He's gone, and I think he might have hit them hard.
Well, he's gone again off to the left. Dekker's hooked up to his wheel. Who else would it be? Frank Renier, the most aggressive rider of the Tour in his first Tour de France, is riding 3rd wheel, and he's looking very promising. They call him the Spider-Man. Well, he's got everybody in his web. Can he get them out of it? Because leading up to the line now is Velocity. Now comes Dekker. On the left of the picture is Hinault now. And Hinault and Dekker, where is he finding the strength from? As this is going to be a tight sprint. Is it a successful day for Dekker? My goodness me, no. It is Karsten Kroon, his teammate. That is an immense result.
So Gonzalez de Galdiano will take a lead of 34 seconds over Armstrong into tomorrow's individual time trial, probably the most important day of his career.
Sí, una cita con el destino y con la contrarreloj. Una contrarreloj importante para mí, para todo el equipo y para los adversarios también.
Igor, más de medio minuto le separa de Armstrong. Primera cosa, ¿usted cree que usted puede ganar el contrarreloj? Segunda cosa, 37 segundos creo que le separa de Armstrong. ¿Van a ser suficientes para darle el jersey amarillo en las montañas?
Suficiente, no sé. Yo creo que yo intentaré hacer una buena contrarreloj. El problema es que Armstrong también es muy bueno en la contrarreloj. Incluso hasta ahora en el Tour ha sido el mejor. Tanto es una incertidumbre. Yo espero hacer la buena y a partir de ahí veremos el resultado.